All right, so for lesson 5, we're going to work a little more with variables. So I'm going to make myself a new project for lesson 5. Finish. And then go to your source, make a new class, and I'm going to name it lesson 5. I'm going to check that public seg void main string args box and click finish. And before we get started, I'm going to go in and I'm going to adjust my brackets, and I recommend you do the same. Delete these comments. I'm going to add a block comment at the top. So author Spaunhorst, date September 2nd, lesson 5. And lesson 5 is about variable types and casting. So go ahead and click save. So we're going to come down here and we're going to start declaring and initializing some stuff. So we're going to say that double sand equals 78.2. Double has a decimal, so we're okay with that. Now, one thing that we can't do is come in and say int trap equals sand. So it doesn't like that. It gives us an error. So if you look over here and you kind of hover over the error, type mismatch, cannot convert from double to int. Well, today I'm going to show you how you can actually do that. There's a way to get that done. At this point, trap is an integer, so it can't actually be a decimal. So sand can't become an integer without losing some of this information, so it has to lose its 0.2. Java's real beef with it is that it just does not like to lose data. So even that 0.2 just makes it feel nervous. So what we need to do is we need to cast. So the way that you cast this double as an integer is go down into that line 11, in front of sand, in parentheses, right? So this is casting sand as an integer. So then come on down to the next line, and we're going to make sure this works. So system.out.print line, we're going to print trap. And then go ahead and run your program. 78, so it took that 0.2 off. Now, I do want to show you something else also. So if you come back up here and you say 78.9, and we run it, it only shows up as 78. So basically, casting will get rid of everything past that decimal point. It doesn't round, it doesn't give you the closest number, it just gets rid of everything past the decimal. Okay, so let's go back. Let's say that double sand is equal to 4. We say int trap is equal to 3. And what I want to do is I want to have a double, and I'm going to call this divide equals trap divided by sand. So now if I run this program, it gives me 3. Why does it give me 3? Because I told it to print trap. So instead we need to change it to that divide. So here, change it to divide. And you can actually clear your console. So if you have an answer here you don't want to see, there's a button over here that says clear console. So then you go ahead and run that program. So there's another error. What is my error? I have an extra parenthesis. Try this again. So now it gives me 0.75 because it realized that it's supposed to be a double. So just like I did, you guys can make lots of little mistakes. So like leaving trap down here, putting in the extra parenthesis. But if you just take a second to relook, you'll be totally fine. And usually you'll find it pretty quickly. Okay, so now I'm going to try a couple of different things for you guys, so we can kind of get this casting more under wraps. So I'm going to comment this out. Here we go. It really doesn't like to be commented out, but that's okay. It'll live. So scrolling down a little bit, and we're going to set up a double dare. Double dare is going to be equal to 5/4. And we're going to system.out.println dare. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the same line of code twice, or Control-C, Control-V, and we're going to call this double dare 2, and we're going to call this dare 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a little bit with the casting. So we're going to come up to line 16 and put double in front of that 5/4. And then down here on line 19, we're going to put double in parentheses again in front. And we're also going to put the whole 5/4 in parentheses, just to see what the difference is. Go ahead and click run. So this gave us 1.25, and this replied with 1.0. You might be asking yourself why this actually happens. Well, if you look down here in line 19, in that little parentheses where 5/4 is all cozy, it does integer arithmetic on its own. So it's making this calculation first, and then it's casting it as a double. So we are losing that data. Now for this one, we are saying that the 5 is the double, and then it sets the whole rest of the equation as a double precision, so we're getting a decimal. If we trick Java and say in line 19 it's 5.0 divided by 4, we're going to get it as a double. But because that 5 point is not even in there, it does integer. Okay, so I'm going to come up to my first comment block here, and I'm going to put an additional comment. I'm going to say that this part is learning casting, right? And then we're going to comment out this next part also. And I'm going to put a comment on the second line, and we're going to say differences in casting. The last thing we're going to talk about is final variable. So if I have final double pi equals 3.14159, as we all know and love, what we're saying with final is that no matter what, you cannot change it. So there's no pi plus plus or plus plus pi or pi equals pi plus 3. This is saying this is the only thing that pi is going to be able to be equal to in the whole rest of the program. And I made pi totally capitalized because one of the conventions with Java is for something that's going to be a constant, we just make it all capitalized. So I'm going to come out to the side and put a comment called creating constant using final. All right, so if you try to make pi equal to something else, so say like pi equals 3.5, it's pretty angry about it. It does not like it. Final local variable pi cannot be assigned. So basically this is preventing you from changing things. So if you have a program that has to use a constant where something can never be changed, that is the option that you would go with. You can even make final or constants out of strings and integers also. So if you have a name that you don't want changed, set it as final, create a constant with it. So now that you're done with the lesson 5 video, make sure you turn this project in on the server, not on the server, on Moodle, and then you can do the lesson 5 questions and the lesson 5 project. So if you look in your book, your lesson 5 project is called Mixed Results.